What if I told you that gaining wealth is not just about numbers in your bank account, but something much deeper, something that has the potential to change how you see the world, your relationships, your purpose? In this video, we're going to unravel the surprising truth behind FU money and how the ancient Stoics laid the foundations for this ultimate form of freedom. Stick around until the end, because I'll reveal a secret about FU money that the wealthiest people never share. A secret that will completely change your perspective on what true financial freedom really means. What is FU money really? First, let's break down what FU money means. Sure, on the surface, it's having enough money to say no to anything that doesn't align with your values. But it goes deeper than that. It's the ability to walk away from any situation where you feel compromised, whether it's a toxic boss, a bad business partner, or even societal pressures to live a certain way. But let me be clear, FU money isn't about living recklessly or burning bridges. It's about security, about choice, and most importantly, about autonomy. It's about gaining control of your life so you can live it on your terms. And that's where Stoicism becomes a powerful ally. The Stoic approach to wealth. Indifference, not avoidance. The Stoics weren't monks living in isolation. They participated in life. Many of them were wealthy, like Seneca. But Stoicism teaches us to be indifferent to wealth, not to avoid it. There's a huge difference. You see, the Stoics believed that wealth is a preferred indifferent, meaning if you have it, that's great. But if you don't, your happiness shouldn't depend on it. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. When we talk about FU money through a Stoic lens, it's not just about stacking cash so you can live a life of indulgence. It's about creating a safety net for yourself while cultivating a mindset that doesn't rely on wealth for happiness. The Stoics believed that your external circumstances, including your finances, should never dictate your internal peace. Wealth is a tool, not the goal. The trap of more, a Stoic warning. Let's talk about a modern-day trap, the endless pursuit of more. Most people get caught up in thinking that once they hit a certain financial milestone, they'll finally be free. Free to retire, to travel, to live the life they've always wanted. But here's the thing, that milestone always moves. You start with the goal of making 6 figures, then suddenly it's 7 figures, then 8. You're always chasing more. The Stoics knew this problem well. In fact, Seneca warned us, saying, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This insatiable hunger for more is what actually enslaves us. That's why most people never feel like they have FU money, because they're constantly shifting the finish line. They live in fear of losing what they have, so they keep working harder and harder, thinking freedom is just around the corner. But the truth is, unless you master your desires, no amount of money will make you feel secure. The more you need, the less free you are. Stoic moderation, the real key to wealth. Now, here's where Stoicism gives us a powerful lesson. Moderation. The Stoics were all about balance. They warned that too much of anything, even something seemingly good, can become destructive. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, everything in excess is opposed to nature. So how does moderation apply to FU money? It's simple. You don't need millions to be free. You need enough to live comfortably according to your values, but more importantly, you need the discipline to know when enough is enough. Without moderation, you might achieve wealth, but you'll become a slave to it. The more you acquire, the more you risk losing yourself in it. True freedom lies in being able to say, "I have enough." Take Seneca again as an example. He was one of the richest men in Rome, but he famously lived with the mindset of someone who could lose everything. Every month he would practice living with less, eating only simple meals, wearing rough clothing, and experiencing discomfort. Why? Because he wanted to remind himself that wealth is not the source of happiness. It's a tool, nothing more. Money without the extremes. So how do you apply Stoic moderation to your pursuit of wealth? First, let's talk about living within your means. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that wealth means an extravagant lifestyle. The Stoics would argue the opposite. Marcus Aurelius himself lived relatively simply, even though he was an emperor. He once wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. If you're always thinking about luxury, your mind becomes chained to those desires." That's not to say you shouldn't enjoy life or have nice things, but Stoicism teaches us to be intentional about it. Ask yourself, is this purchase bringing me closer to freedom, or is it chaining me to my job, my status, or my anxiety about money? The irony is that the more you reduce your wants, the more free you become. This is the Stoic secret to building money, not through extremes of poverty or opulence, but through careful moderation. Practical Stoic steps to money. Let's break this down into actionable steps. How do you build money while practicing Stoicism? First, start by minimizing your needs. This doesn't mean living in deprivation, but rather asking yourself, what do I actually need to feel secure? You might find that the answer is a lot less than you think. Second, create a cushion for yourself, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Your money should be enough to allow you to live according to your values without being controlled by anyone or anything. Whether that number is $50,000, $500,000, or $5 million depends on your needs, not your wants. And finally, cultivate an inner wealth that no one can take from you. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that everything outside his mind, his power, his wealth, even his health, could be taken away. But his character, his ability to act with integrity, was untouchable. This is the wealth that Stoicism prioritizes. So what's the surprise I promised at the beginning? Here it is. The real secret to money is that it doesn't require millions of dollars. In fact, most people chasing money are missing the point entirely. The true freedom comes from realizing that you control your own definition of wealth and success. The Stoics knew this all along. They weren't against wealth, but they were against letting wealth control your life. The key isn't to accumulate so much money that you're invincible. The key is to live with such clarity and purpose that money becomes a tool, not the goal. That's the paradox of money. The more you chase it, the less free you become. But the moment you realize that wealth is just a means to an end, and that end is living in alignment with your values, you've already achieved it. You don't need to wait until you've hit a certain financial number. You can start living that freedom today, with whatever resources you have. A Stoic path to true wealth. So, in the end, money isn't just about the dollars in your bank account. It's about mental freedom, about living in accordance with your values, and about not being ruled by your desires. The Stoics taught us that the real power lies in controlling our minds, not external circumstances. Wealth can amplify your freedom, but it can also amplify your chains, if you're not careful. Think about it. What's truly stopping you from living a life of freedom right now? Is it really money, or is it your attachment to things you don't need? The Stoic path to money is simple. Control your desires and live with moderation. And now it's your turn. What does money mean to you? Is it a number, or is it something deeper? Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more on Stoicism and living a life of purpose.